expansion to new markets. I got to do it first time 10 years ago. Well, 12 years ago. Oh, sure. Let me see. At Evernote, external brain, note-taking software. We were one of the first unicorns, in large part because of user base outside of the US. So I was head of product, was asked to run international, and after Evernote, I launched several self-learning English as foreign language apps, also obviously in foreign markets. So, like, in one way or another, I was dealing with international markets for the last dozen years. Let's calibrate. So I don't know this crowd. Let's calibrate what's interesting. Who here are founders, CEOs, COOs? Okay. Marketing people? Product people? Okay, so it's pretty even split. Who already has business outside of the US? Sorry. Okay. Who is planning to expand internationally in a foreseeable future? Okay. Who has the product market fit in? Yeah, let's pause for a second. Who has feels that they have product market fit in your home market? Okay, I'll explain why I'm asking. Whose product market? Jesus, maybe it was not a good idea. Whose home market is not in the US? Mm-hmm. All right. And whose business is digital B2C? All B2B. Okay, who is B2B? All right, tough crowd. All right. Well, some basics. Why bother? Why to go global if you are in the largest market in the world already? New customers and revenue. It's a way to leverage the investments you make in the technology, product, and marketing at relatively low cost. Partnerships that support customers and revenue. Sometimes it's easier to get access to capital outside of your home market. Talent. Being present in other markets helps you recruit. And risk diversification. When to go global? Don't start with that. It's very risky to defocus on new geographies until you have a proven traction in your home market. So until you feel that you have a product market fit, just don't. There are, like, as any rule, there are exceptions, but exceptions are rare. All right, so you have your product market fit, you have the resources. How do you go about selecting your next geography? Things to consider: upside versus risk. Does it move the needle? If it doesn't, don't bother. Barriers to entry, like also all sorts of barriers: cultural, regulation, geopolitics, competitive environment, cost and readiness of the expansion. How much does it take to localize your product and marketing materials? Do you understand the market? Do you have local connections? These are all solvable problems. They just take resources, and you have to prioritize. Thing to keep in mind is that larger markets have higher barriers, competitive, often regulatory, but so price reward. And last but not least is where, like, are you launching from? So most of people here would be launching from the US, and This makes things so much easier, believe me. So like, you start with figuring out who is your target user and is your persona in new market different from your home market. And then things like what's the purchasing power, do you need to change your monetization policy, how do people make purchasing decisions. So you like learn about all that before you decide. And it's a long list, but actually it's relatively easy. Now, okay, so you picked your market. This is a longer list that you need to deal with. So most businesses have to, for most businesses, global launches would affect product and engineering. Will require localization. You'll need to change your analytics. Usually you have to add 2 new dimensions to your data and reports, country and language, and sometimes it's a pain. Obviously marketing, at some point you'll need to provide customer support in local language. Legal, different regulatory regime. Finance, like hopefully you'll get revenue. Depending on what you do, and most people here will need to figure out how to do sales remotely, partnerships, investor relations, if you do developer relations, hosting, if you do it yourself. Long list. Given the long list, what does international expansion mean for your organizational structure? So that's actually counterintuitively important. There are many moving parts. It's cross-functional, as we just saw by nature. So again, from what I've seen, it's important to have the international team as an autonomous organization with its own targets and vision. Having international under product or under marketing or in between really works. It's better to be a separate unit, and in a smaller startup, it better report to like CEO. If a company is bigger, then CEO, COO, CRO. This function needs to have enough clout to pull people together. So international should lead all the cross-functional projects, but it doesn't need to build up the capacity. It's better to rely on other functions, resources. Like, for example, you need to do design for your marketing materials in a new market. Your instinct could be to hire a contractor or hire a new designer. Better have whoever is doing design just take on this additional work. Now, this is all in the headquarters, but you need often, usually actually, local people on the ground. These are your eyes and ears. And they will have much less structure and much less supervision than folks in the headquarters. So they have to be entrepreneurial, they have to be agile, and they have to be empowered. You have to trust them. Now, the ultimate goal, organizational goal of the international team, is to create a global-minded culture across the company. So, what's involved? Again, long list. I won't bother you with all of that. Things to consider. Consider language complexity, cultural fit of the product, cultural fit of your brand, coding guidelines, how to deal with legal. Don't forget your marketing and training materials. And this is a list, it's long. For localization, to maintain consistency, you need glossaries, tone of voice guide. You need to find good translators. You probably need to build tooling. The good news is that latest language stack, LLMs, make a lot of localization tasks much less expensive and faster. And it goes on and on and on. LQA, payments is usually one of the low-hanging fruits. You localize payment user interface, you add local currency support, you add local payment methods, and each of these steps usually has immediate material impact on your revenue, like double-digit percentage increase. Now, again, lots of moving parts, so it's beneficial to have a product manager who is focused on internationalization. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. It could be one of the functions, but you want to have a stacky for that. Otherwise, things tend to slip through the cracks. Now, finally, we got to the name of this gathering, go-to-market. It depends on the business, depends on the product, but there are a few common themes that worth keeping in mind. Success metrics. It may be different from your metric in the home market, so decide on it, align the team, and track it. Early on, it's worth tracking external metrics, like, hey, what's your App Store rank? What's your SEO rank? Things like that. This is an early signal of your popularity in the new market. Depending on your resources and your conviction in the new market, you may start with low-cost tests. Localize a landing page, do some modest localization, do a pilot, see how it goes. You don't have to invest too heavily. And speaking of GTM proper, start with your tactical playbook from your early days, from your 0 to 1 stage. Sometimes companies forget that by the time they get to international, so it's important. It's highly beneficial to remember what you've done it. So review it. If it's suitable, great. But even if it is, revisit the full toolbox of that marketing has at its disposal, again, because different conditions. Question often comes up, hey, can we outsource market entry to a marketing agency? I'm not a fan. I don't remember seeing this work for paid user acquisition. It works better for PR. So it's fine hiring local. Actually, it's worth hiring local small PR agencies, but you better do it directly, not through someone who will pitch you single window service will do everything in this market. They won't. And
Just my question.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen as being a problem for paid user acquisition?
In theory, it should work. In practice, the agency can be either misaligned or don't have enough understanding of your business. It's very hard to align them on the goals and on the values, on tone of voice, on your style, on how you deal with your brand. It's theory and practice.
I see. So is it true then to say that that's a problem for local market as well, right? Not only for an expanded market?
To a lesser extent. In the local market, you sense what's going on. In the foreign market, it's harder. It takes you longer to realize that there is a problem. Communications could be a barrier.
But the agencies suck in general.
Yes, except for PR.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and don't forget about the users. Find your early adopters, engage them, listen to them, like trust them, well, and collect them into communities. So to sum it up, okay, actually, this is inspirational. On the right is a view from Montmartre. You see Paris. At the bottom, you see collection of books in Japanese about Evernote as a measure of brand success. Like we had over 40 books, like how-to books. Evernote for Dummies, Evernote, like hardcore, blah blah blah. And in quantitative terms, when I left Evernote after 5 years of international growth, we had 70% of user growth, over 50% of users and revenue outside of the US, with very little incremental investment. Like what we invested in the product and in like creating marketing stuff, like was like orders of magnitude more than we invested in international. Yeah, and I fully expect to win the Presentation of the Year award for the slides I did on the train. But like, so this is like, if you need to learn more, I have a long read about the subject. You can find it through my LinkedIn. That's how it's called, and you can find me on LinkedIn, and happy to help in your international adventures. Questions? We answered all questions. Right. Thank you.